Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass Move. And for today's episode, we are back in the Champions League in our lively Liverpool series. So, obviously we're normally back for the Premier League, and we mentioned about coming back only showing you the Champions League games once we reach board expectations. But there's a possibility that we won't meet the board expectations this season. So just to give you a quick update, Champions League, the board want us to reach the quarterfinals. We're currently in the first knockout round against Celtic, a team who we should really be beating. But they performed really well in the first leg, and we'll have to do better in the second leg to overturn the first leg's result. In terms of the league, third place, 65 points, 3 points away from Bournemouth, and it will take quite some doing for us to drop out of the Champions League. So at least over there, we seem to be doing okay. The board are quite happy, 61% confidence. We won the Carabao Cup in the last episode, so if you missed out on that, then watch that, of course. And obviously there's a huge game in that episode as well against Bournemouth, which has helped us open up this gap. But today is all about the Champions League. So in terms of what happened since last episode, not too many matches since then. So we showed you, like we mentioned, the Bournemouth game and the Southampton Carabao Cup final. After that, we managed to beat Southampton again 3-0 to show them that the final, the trophy win wasn't a fluke. Lallana and Milner scored. Milner threw a penalty as always, and Wesley helped us through an own goal. I think that kind of rings a bell, feels familiar, but I guess not. Anyways, against Everton, away from home, a bit of a tough one. Our rivals, of course, but we still managed to win through comfortably within half time, really. Mane and Sturridge scoring, and that was kind of it. And we've helped keep Everton as low as possible, probably sending them down to the Championship. In truth, 24 points. They are, they need 2 wins, 6 points, and hope that the teams above them lose, including Swansea and Crystal Palace in particular, for them to get out of the relegation zone. And so I think we've really aided them in terms of keeping them out of the Premier League as much as possible by next season. But yeah, against Crystal Palace, things kind of went wrong. It's kind of expected, to be fair. We're away from home, and they are fighting to stay out of the relegation zone, so they're more fired up than any other team. We're getting towards the end of the season as well. 31 games played kind of says it. And so it's an understandable result, but disappointing one nonetheless. 3 points dropped, and it could have helped us be closer to Manchester City when we were really starting to edge towards them and possibly overtake them. We would have been on 68 points. That means just 7 points away from them, and of course quite close to Manchester United, who we could have finished above possibly. I mean, it's not all over yet, still 7 more games, but it would have been nice, of course, and we'll see what happens. Manchester City, having gone unbeaten for a long period of the season, have suddenly started to lose to Manchester United, Watford, Tottenham and Newcastle, and they started to drop some points where we really could have capitalised on, but we unfortunately couldn't. Having said that, we're meeting the expectations, so it's okay, and hopefully next season we can put in a serious title challenge and improve on this season. But yeah, today's all about the Champions League. So that last result was an away loss, 2-0 to Celtic. We have to try and avoid conceding, because if we do concede 1 goal, let alone 2, that means we have to score 4 to overturn the result. We do not have any away goals, which seriously puts our position in jeopardy, and I do not really have any confidence in our defence. Having said that, we've had the fairly recent run of nice little clean sheets here. Everton, Southampton twice, Fulham, Bournemouth as well. That was a tough game. Wolves. But more often than not, I would say that we concede at least 1 goal. We just happen to outscore our opponents more often than not. Having said that, hopefully we see more of that outscoring today, and a clean sheet would be nice too, so we can advance to the quarterfinals and keep the board happy, as well as obviously performing against a team who we should be beating. Having said that, this is the team we're going with. We'll talk more about it in just a second once they, once the players warm up and we submit the team. But in terms of injury updates, Joe Gomez out for 10 to 12 days because of a concussion, and Coutinho's still out from that long-term injury of a torn hamstring, but he's hopefully back soon within 2 to 5 weeks, and we could do with him. I think if you noticed in the Premier League top stats, he's still second. I think that's him anyways. Yeah, it's second in terms of assists, top assist in the league. Just a single one away from Sanchez, and he's been out for quite some time as well, Coutinho. So if you talk about the Premier League, he's played 20 games, which is fair enough. Sanchez, though, I would assume has played more, 29, so he's got a 9-game head start, and Coutinho is a bit unlucky with that recent injury he's had. So there you go, let's kick off and finally just get going with the game itself. we need 3 goals, of course, to send us into the extra time. But I'm hoping 3 will get the job done. We've got some key players here. Mane with still the top goal scorer in the club. Salah with the most assists, so hopefully we've got enough firepower in our wings. Chan's our captain, but him and, well, just him actually. One more card and he's going to be banned from the next game. But obviously there could not even be a next game. In terms of the best average rating out of the starting 11 at the moment is Nathaniel Klein. We've got Karius in goal because he's the cup goalkeeper to try and improve his ability. Robertson's been performing really well of late, and I think that's helped his overall average rating just a bit. He's gone from about 6.7 to 6.98. But yeah, in recent form he's been really well, and actually the truth is Moreno's a bit unlucky to miss out. It's just because Robertson's been in too good form to drop him. Klein, obviously, as always, our first choice. Barta's a first choice, and the same can be said about Matip. Matip complained about recent game time, and in fact, I've actually promised to sell him. He wasn't happy with it. He's on 100k wages, and the truth is, Wallace has improved so much so that he is now actually the club's first choice centre-back in terms of central defender. Now, John's not the best judgment of ability, so we'll go to Peter, but apparently Peter even thinks that Matip is just a good player for most Premier League sides, so it's probably best that we move him on anyways. But it's nice to see that Wallace is a top centre-back and he is a leading player for most Premier League sides. So he's not necessarily our first choice anymore, Matip, but he does get the nod here today, and Wallace is on the bench just in case. Jorginho and Chan make the midfield pairing. Jorginho's been a better deep line playmaker than Henderson, I would argue, who's hardly featured for this Liverpool side. And it's a bit disappointing, but maybe we'll have to consider playing Henderson as a ball-winning midfielder instead, and that would actually take out Emre Can. Having said that, we've got a nice little front 4 here. We've got Salah, Lallana, Mane and Sturridge, and all 4 of them should be capable of getting us a result here. Hopefully they're in top form. Lallana in particular having 11 goals, 9 assists and performing really well for us once he returned from his injury. It was a bit concerning in the beginning, but he's managed to overturn that. Sturridge as a backup striker is doing as much as possible to keep Firmino out of the side, and that's good to see as well. As long as he's playing well, he will be playing, of course, so no need to drop him. But anyways, goals mostly come from the flanks, so let's hope we see more of our wide players performing well. In terms of Celtic themselves, a 4-3-3, pretty much the opposite of our own formation, and we'll have to do well to do against them. I think whenever we play 4-2-3-1 versus a 4-3-3, it normally doesn't go too well, and it's the same formation they played with in the first leg, but I have a bit of faith in my players. I'm hoping the attacking risk we take here makes up for it, but if we start to see that our formations putting us in some trouble, we'll obviously need to switch things up. Maybe we can play with 2 DMs, or maybe we can just go to the safe 4-4-1-1 option, which would take advantage of the flanks. Some decent players that everyone knows about. Of course, people know Celtic's players in general, but probably players to look out for are Sinclair. I guess Griffith, I wouldn't normally assume that, but he's the highest average rating and the club's top goal scorer. Other players to look out for, Kieran Tierney is a well-known name at the moment as well, huge prospect. Lustig is a decent reputation player as well. To be honest with you, I don't know too many of Celtic's players, but I know a lot of people pay attention, obviously, to the team. But either way, I think we can just go ahead and give our team talk and get into today's game. It's going to be one hell of a team talk, hopefully. I think I'll go with the revenge aspect. We should probably go with the favourites type of thing, but I like to go with the revenge one. Normally that sparks a good enough reaction. A lot of players are motivated, but we're going to need more than just motivation to win this game. So let's go ahead and kick off. Skip that little thing, I always hate it. Make sure replays are on. Goals. And we're ready to go. So, can we score a goal immediately, please? Mane all the way back to... Okay, right. Alright, great. Thanks, Barta. That was just incredible from Mane. Incredible from both the players there, that they almost immediately let Celtic in to try and ruin our Champions League chances, absolutely. But as you can see, they're going toe-to-toe with us so far, just 10 minutes, but I'm hoping the more the game progresses, the more dominant we become. But like I mentioned, the 4-3-3 is very difficult to face up against when you're playing a 4-2-3-1. Another issue that normally happens is, if I can just quickly give you a bit of a tactics tip, I suppose. When you play an attacking midfielder on attack, or a shadow striker, or any of these roles really, other than the trequartista, you're playing an attacking midfielder, your opposition's playing a defensive midfielder, almost always that DM is going to be on your AM. regardless of what role you're playing him. He's going to always be marked. You can bet on that. This is a natural sort of positional rival, I suppose. And so normally it's really tough to get you the best out of your attacking midfielder in these type of games. As you can see so far, Lallana's having an okay solid game of 6.8. I'm hoping he still outperformed their DM. That's the only way you get around it. But the other tweak you can make is sometimes if you go on Trick or Artista, just because they have so much freedom to roam and do whatever they want to do, they really do break away from the DM a little bit more than any other role would do. Obviously, they're also given. You have to bear in mind that they don't close down, they ease off tackles, they sort of just float around, they do nothing defensively, and that's what gives them the edge, is that they can just go and find little holes in the opposition defense in a much better way and get away from the DM than any of these other roles are. The other option is, of course, that you make your players, you give them the option to roam. You edit the instructions, you add roam for position, that could help too. Obviously our actual tactic has the roam from position, so I don't feel that's necessary, but that's just something to keep in mind when you do play an AM and your opposition's playing a DM and you're wondering, why is my AM having such a poor game today? That's almost always the reason why. Having said that, Celtic on the counter, thankfully has a poor pass and Lallana can pick up the pieces. Having said that, Rogic wins it and Jorginho wins it from him. And it's just about a case of who can keep the ball better. Having said that, Chan to Robertson, can he deliver into the box? There's a couple of players there, aims for Sturridge, and there you go, the first goal of the game. Robertson assisting Sturridge, and we scored within 25 minutes of time, so still quite a bit of the game to go on and score 2 more. The question is, can we get them though? Really good ball though from Chan to find Robertson. Sturridge does the right thing and gets into the box. So Lallana's trying to get there as quickly as possible, but Robertson's already played the ball. Sturridge goes to the near post, and that's sort of his experience as a poacher sort of helped him there, because I don't think a natural complete forward would necessarily do that movement and get into the box in the same way Sturridge did. So thankfully he's got that in his pocket, I suppose. Lallana coming out wide to receive the ball, trying to escape from the DM. Klein's the player he found, finds Salah quite easily. Is he going to finish or is he going to cross? He does to Mane, and you'd argue that the Egyptian made the wrong decision there. I just want to have a quick look at his decision making. His decisions are 13, that's not too bad. I think it wouldn't surprise me if he looks to pass instead of shoot. No, he doesn't. It's a bit surprising. Quite often I think he tries to assist more than he does try to shoot, and it's a bit unusual for an inside forward. Fair play if it comes off, but when it doesn't there, then you kind of have to criticize him for not taking the chance himself. Anyways, Klein is sort of boxed out, I suppose. Eventually comes back to him, but he finds Matip. The Cameroonian goes out wide to Robertson. Again, the player who assisted last time. Will he assist the second goal of the game? Takes his man on, beats him, just has to deliver into the box again. He does that to Lallana. It's cut out, but Mane's on the ball. Can he finish? Back to Sturridge. And the Englishman has hugely disappointed us there. And Celtic are trying to counter us. Can we stop their counter? Trying to get men forward. Barter cleans up the pieces quite easily though. But that is, or should have been, our second goal of the game. It looks like we are really starting to dominate Celtic at the moment. They haven't really posed a threat. None of their shots on target either. So I think we're doing okay against the formation, but we are going to have to step up our game a bit more, because even if we grab another goal, it's not quite enough to send us through. We want to avoid extra time as much as possible. We want to avoid penalties as much as possible. We want to win this game on merit itself. Possession though is really good too, 61%, despite them playing a more of a possession formation. I think 4-3-3 is one of the best possession formations there is, and the reason is that it covers every blade of grass possible. So still losing, which gives us the option of saying I expect to see much better from you in the second half. I feel like that might be the right thing to say, even though we're winning the game itself, we're not winning over 2 legs. And I don't think anything else will necessarily go too well. I've already used the revenge team talks. Let's go with I'm expecting to see much better. Alright, players have responded well, so that's good. A lot more to come from you. And they're ready to walk through walls, so perfect. I think we'll step it up a notch as well and go into attack. I know that will leave us exposed on the counter a bit more, but we cannot sit around anymore. Might be a bit wiser to stay on control and be a bit patient, but We need 2 more goals, not even just 1. I want to avoid extra time as much as possible. Celtic with the set piece. Ooh, really close from Griffiths. Brown makes up for it though. I was hoping that was offside. The game sort of... Now we need to score 3, and I thought we'd get caught out on the counter. Instead it's on a set piece with my players going to sleep. This is a beautiful director shot. Karius does well. Unfortunately for him, his defenders don't react the same way he does. He doesn't palm away out of the danger, to be fair, but he's in a tough position as is, so he's made the save, and that's kind of enough. But Celtic have seriously put us in a poor position. Nalana, we're going to take him off for Marco since he's injured. Any other real substitutions we can make? Let's see who else we've got. We've got Milner here. He's a backup to Chan. Chan's not having the best of games though. Oxlade-Chamberlain can come off for Salah or Mane. Salah's had a bit of a quiet one. Firmino for Sturridge, but he's grabbed the goal, so I think I'll just keep that change only. Can't go any more attacking in terms of the formation, so we haven't had a single shot or shot on target more than we did at the start in the first half, so I think we might have to consider changing our formation. Let's try and go with the 4-4-1-1. I know it's not too attacking, but maybe taking a step back can help you take a step forward, if that makes any sense. Take advantage of this little space in between in the flanks. Might help us a bit more since we're not really doing anything. What other substitutions can we make? I think we can finally do that Salah one. Bring on Chamberlain. Play him as a winger instead of as an inverted winger. And I think I will move Chan to Jorginho's spot, take off Jorginho for Milner. I'd rather take off Sturridge because it's a more attacking change to bring on Firmino, but Sturridge grabbed the goal and I feel like it'd be a bit harsh to take him off. Maybe I'm being a bit too soft, but either way, we're running out of time, and this does not look like it's going to end well for us. Credit to Celtic grabbing the away goal. But poor on us for not trying to build on our early goal in the first half, 20 minutes. Marco though on the counter, can we grab a second and spark a late revival? Sturridge. Eventually to Robertson, even though we had Chamberlain on the right. Mane's on the ball this time. Can he find a decent cross? Before I'm even done with that question, he loses the ball. And thankfully Celtic lose it too. Chan to Milner, to Marco. Is he going to take the shot himself? He does. That's one hell of a shot, and I thought it was going to go in, but unfortunately it hits the post and Celtic survive. The good news is we stepped up our shots apparently, so the highlight goes on, so it could still go in our favour. Milner. Back to Chan. Don't lose it. No real option. Eventually spreads out wide to Klein, and he can find Chamberlain. And the winger takes his man on, just has to deliver into the box. Sturridge. Nope, no one really takes it. Almost an own goal. The goalkeeper does well to get down quickly, but the players looked like they weren't even aware of what was going on, and credit to Chamberlain for that. He just blasts the ball in, really. Wait, I don't want to change fluid. I want to go into overload and take more risks. Please work. Alright, there's nothing, and Chamberlain just got worse. Let's push up again. Winger, overload, take more risks. This is a poor response from the players, drawing, not even winning the game to say okay we outperformed in the second leg. Chamberlain too injured to continue. That's great to see as well. We're already missing Coutinho, and suddenly Mane and Salah are gonna have to play very carefully to avoid risking any injuries. Game over though, and Celtic beat Liverpool in the Champions League knockout rounds to go into the quarterfinals. Fair play to them. They've done better than anyone would have expected, I think. I think the only thing to say is that not good enough. We should be winning. And the board are going to be quite unhappy about this one. Hopefully winning the League Cup makes up for it. And we were just one stage away from reaching the expectations, but you know how it is in Football Manager. And hopefully we can still have a strong end to the season by finishing well in the Premier League. And if we could win the FA Cup as well, that might keep the board happy too. But Firmino and Coutinho, this is serious problems now. I forgot about the promises I made to them. So Mane, Firmino and Coutinho, I promised them we'd reach the latter stages of the Champions League. I haven't been able to keep my promise, and it looks like all three of these players will be looking to leave the club at the end of the season. It's either that or lose them in January because they were asking to leave. This is going to be quite a bit of a problem, so hopefully they get over it later on in the season. If I can win the FA Cup, then they might be like, it's okay, we'll give you one more season's time to keep your promise. Chamberlain's out for 1 to 3 days, so not as bad as I thought it might be. Lallana injured as well though. That's 2 to 3 weeks, pulled his knee ligaments. That's not nice. Is he injury prone? He is injury prone. There's so many Liverpool players that are injury prone, and we play with such a intense tactic. It doesn't help at all. So hopefully we can have a good end to the season. FA Cup though, just a handful of games now. FA Cup 6th round. I think the 6th round pretty much is the quarterfinals, so it goes into semi-finals and final. In terms of the other teams we might want to look out for, it's Manchester City and Chelsea really, but of course one of them or the other is going to be the one that features in the semi-finals. So if you ask me, we are definitely one of the teams who are the favourites for competition. We could very much so reach the final and end the season with 2 cup trophies in the bag. Having said that, we'll be back. This is a game of March that we showed you for the Celtic one, so we'll be back in April. Handful of games there as well, just for them: Huddersfield, Chelsea, Watford and West Brom. And it'll depend on which game feels the most important one. We'll probably show you another episode of a Chelsea game. I think we showed you before one of the Chelsea games. But yeah, this one, Stamford Bridge, away from home. They're just below us in 5th place. Well, actually we're in 3rd, but yeah, if we do want to try and lock up this Champions League spot, then we'll have to do that by beating Chelsea by the looks of it at the moment. The other games don't seem as important. Stoke we're playing at home. We should be able to beat Stoke. Huddersfield we're also at home. Chelsea's away, Watford's away. Watford away might be a bit tricky, especially because they're in 15th. They'll be worried about teams below them. And that's kind of it. And I think the last episode of the series, or not the series, of the season, is in May, of course. There's Newcastle, Manchester City. We'll probably be showing the Manchester City game because that's definitely going to be important. Away from home, they're in 1st as well. Might be able to ruin their title prospects. And if not, the only reason we won't be showing you that Manchester City game, we might do as a double header, but it would be because we reached the FA Cup final, which is also played in May. So let's take things one step at a time. First, probably up next, is the Chelsea game. Hopefully by then we would have won all 3 of these games here. But anyways, I think that's all for today's episode. So if you did enjoy it, then of course please do hit the like button and subscribe for more Daily Football Manager 2018 content. And of course I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always guys, thank you all very much for watching.